One of the most important things you can do as a candidate is establish leverage. Establishing leverage allows you to position yourself as an ideal candidate and also can get you more money when it actually comes to getting a job offer. I've been in recruitment for 15 years, and in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 easy ways that you can establish leverage in your next interview process. Let's go. Now, the first thing that you need to have if you want to truly establish leverage is you need to have the ability to walk away from an interview process. Now, there's a few ways to do that. You can be content in your current role. If you are currently employed and you express during the interview, I've got a really good job and I'm really happy where I'm at, but I did think it would be interesting to explore this because of A, B, and C. It lets them know, hey, I'm not trying to escape anything. I'm happy here. Now, if you're unemployed, it might be a bit harder to establish leverage, but you can still do it. And the way you do it is you try to get your hat in the ring for multiple roles. And by that I mean you're applying to multiple roles, you're interviewing with multiple companies, but you have the security knowing I can walk away from a process because I have other roles that I'm interviewing for. I'm in the process with other companies. If you don't have that, you're just pretending to actually have security. You're pretending to establish leverage because ultimately you need what they're going to offer you. You're going to feel compelled to accept it because you have nothing else to fall back on. So by communicating to them that you have a job and you're happy and you don't need to move, it's an excellent way to do it. And if you're unemployed, by getting yourself an interview process with multiple other companies, it's an effective way to establish some leverage. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to let them know that you are interviewing elsewhere if they ask. And you need to let them know in a way that toes the line between letting them know they aren't the only game in town. There are other opportunities you are interested in pursuing, right? However, you're not so deep in this process or you're not so interested in these other companies that they have no shot with you. You see, it's actually really easy to be like, yeah, I've interviewed with several companies. I'm going into face-to-face interviews next week. So I do have other opportunities I'm interviewing for. That might actually get you knocked out of the process because what that recruiter hears is I have arrived to this candidate too late. They are probably going to be getting a job offer next week. There is no way I can actually secure their services for my organization. So you want to let them know that you're interviewing elsewhere, but you're still relatively early on in the process and you're not close to making a decision. And you're trying to take your time because you want to make sure you make the right move. That's how you do it. Now, you don't just tell them out of nowhere, hey, I'm interviewing elsewhere, just so you know. I don't want you to not know that information. But good recruiters, good hiring managers will ask you the question, are you interviewing elsewhere? If they're a really good recruiter, they'll say, how does this opportunity compare with the other positions you're currently pursuing? That's the better way. It's an assumptive way to ask this question. And if they ask that, you go, that's a really good question. I am rather early in my process. I'm pretty passive. I enjoy where I'm working, but I am open to exploring other opportunities if they can offer me A, B, and C, right? Different growth-oriented things that you might be looking for in your job search. And you can let them know that, that's the case, right? Yeah, I'm not really looking. I'm pretty happy where I'm at, but I am interviewing with a few companies who have reached out to me, right? They reached out to you. You didn't apply. That's another way to establish a little bit of leverage. So they've reached out to me, but nothing's close yet. I'm making sure to take my time to make sure that if I do make a move, it's the right move. That's letting them know they can still acquire your services. It is not too late. However, it's going to need to be a good offer or you're not going to move. Now, the next thing you can do is, it's actually a saying that I want you to say. When you're talking about, why you're interested in this role, why are you looking to leave your job, that's the perfect time to bring it up. What you want to say is these words. Good question. I'm not in a rush right now. I'm interested in your opportunity, but I need to make sure that the next opportunity is the one that is right for me. This lets them know you are not anxious to get out of your job or leave your current job or accept their job, right? You're taking your time. You want to make sure it's a good opportunity. Why is this important? Well, it's really important because often recruiters will say to hiring managers, I talked to this candidate. They seem like they really want to leave their current job. So they said they're looking for 85K, but I think they'd probably accept for 75K. This legitimately happens, so it's really important to let them know that you're not in a rush and you want to make sure the next opportunity is right for you. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to be informed. When you talk salary, you need to come from a place of being informed. You need to understand what the market is bearing. So you want to go to places like salary.com or other websites and just look in your area for your role with your level of experience. What are they looking for salary-wise? What are those people making in those roles? You always want to enter into negotiation with as much information as possible. That way you're not selling yourself short. And again, you can negotiate from a place of being informed. Speaking of salary, another way to establish leverage is get them to say the salary range first. Now, most recruiters at some point in the interview process are going to ask you the question, what are you looking for salary-wise, right? And whoever says the number first kind of loses this mini exchange, right? In an ideal world, as a candidate, you would have them say the number before you would say the number. So if they ask you this question, you want to reply with something along the lines of, that's a really good question. I would say at this stage in my career, what's more important than money to me is being in the right position for the right organization and growing my skills and experiences in a way that's going to benefit my career in the long run. So I'm open to a salary that's fair and commensurate with my experience. What is the salary range for this role? And you're kind of turning it around on them and trying to get them to say it first. If you can bring it up, all the better, right? If they ask you, do you have any questions for me? When you're talking to the recruiter early on in the process, be like, yeah, it sounds like a really interesting position. Ask a few questions before you ask about money, right? Because you don't make it look like you're too money focused. Ask a few things about the role, about the team, about the process, all that kind of stuff. And then go, just to make sure it makes sense from a salary perspective, what is the salary range for this role? And if they give you that information, that's great. Now, you're equipped with a lot of information to establish leverage here. So what you also probably need at this point is you need to understand how is a final interview different from one of the early stage interviews. In fact, it's so important I made this video about it here. This video here tells you everything you need to know when it comes to nailing the final interview. So I'm done here. I'll see you over there.